Hello, croeso nôl to Fearless in Devotion, the Wrexham AFC podcast, sponsored, as you should know by now, by the Fat Ball Bar and Restaurant. And just by chance, I have in front of me the latest TripAdvisor review for the Fat Ball. The most recent out of 801 reviews is from Christopher M. from London, who has titled his five-star review, A Nice Lunch. He says, came along for a nice lunch and managed to get a bit of work done on my laptop as well. Sally looked after me well. Lovely meal. Thank you. Need we say any more? I'm joined this week by Liam, Tim, and Andy. The other Andy, AP, Palladio, Polly, is resting his dulcet tones as he has lost his voice. I think there were a couple of sherbets drunk last night, gents. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
I think we left Pollard in a karaoke bar at 2 a.m. Did he sing, Liam? It was all a bit hazy.
Now I'm struggling to remember that as well. So I feel like we were singing along. I don't know if he was actually on the mic though.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if the camera's good enough, but can you see the injury there? That was from me playing football with Alex Beardy's lad in the Mice Green car park last night and falling right on my face.
Wow.
How many times is the question, do I look all right? Do I need to go to A&E?
I mean, literally, I did not need to go to A&E. It's tiny. It was bleeding a bit last night.
That's why
it's my own fault. Sorry?
That's why you shouldn't drink.
Yeah. I'll try and play football.
Or try and play football.
Yeah. Even though this is my Christmas present, by the way. My mum got me this. Absolute quality top, this.
Show us and tell us more.
It's the long sleeve gold Wrexham.
Lovely stuff.
You must have this, Tim.
Yeah, of course I have.
It's
Anyone else
brilliant.
get any Wrexham related Christmas gift?
All I got was Wrexham stuff. I got a hoodie. What else? I think they just went to that place in Eagles Meadow and emptied it out, which I'm here for.
Tim, Liam?
Yeah, got some bits. I decided in my infinite wisdom, I love the red shirt, even though I thought it was crap to begin with. I love it so much that I thought I would get another long sleeve, even though I already own a long sleeve. I'm going to get another one in a larger size because Macron are very, very unforgiving when it comes to Christmas overindulgence. So, so I've got one for larger days, shall we say? In addition to
operational, Tim.
Well, you know what? I've got so many good shirts, and you think, geez, if the middle-aged spread hammers me in later life, I'm going to regret not buying that shirt in a bigger size. That's what I did. Well, that's what my mum did. My dad got me a snood, which is very, very good, actually. Wrexham snood is very, very cozy. So that was good. And I got a few of the bits I can't remember off the top of my head. But some nice things. That's what matters.
Lovely stuff. Liam?
I got some old school Wrexham programs from the 1970s from my parents, which I thought was nice. It was quite cool looking all the businesses, all the sponsors that no longer exist.
Oh wow! Any still going or all gone?
I think they'd pretty much all gone, but yeah, tough times.
Do you reckon your dad
that was back when Britain was great? Let's talk about that. No, it's not. That's a joke.
That's a very different podcast, mate.
Let's move on and talk about football because it's been a very, very good week on the pitch for Wrexham, and really how the tables have turned. Because after dropping 4 points late on in the game against relegation fodder, we've kind of done the opposite this week with two crucial wins, two late goals. Andy, you're nodding your head. You're feeling good.
I am, and I think our gentle chiding of Stephen Fletcher last week, where we basically said he was shit and he cost us the game at Bristol Rovers.
I didn't say that, Andrew.
I surmised.
Well, I'm glad he listens, first of all. That's a good start.
But that's pure Fletcher, what he's been brought to do. A 20-minute. Now, it's at the moment, it's Ollie Palmer wearing down the defence. Now, he's not much of a goal threat, but he does a very important job. He wears down the defence, and then Fletcher comes on for the last 20 minutes when they're a little bit tired, and he can make his sort of technique and awareness pay off. And that's happened twice now. Fair play. I thought took balls to step up and take the penalty. I thought for a second Mo Fowl might be taking it, but no, Fletcher popped up and really, really expertly stroked it away to beat Blackpool, and it was just a great finish. It caught the keeper out against Wigan. And do we deserve 2 wins? Probably not. But you know, if this is every team has a bad spell, a patch where they're not playing that well. If this is our bad spell and we're still picking up points, then that'll do me, because I think it's a 4-way breakaway now for the 2 automatic promotion places. I still think Birmingham are going to do it. I think Huddersfield would be dangerous, and I'm interested in Wycombe. I want to see if they can keep their players fit, if they can keep them all during the transfer window, and if they do, they're a good team.
Yeah. Tim, should we look back to Boxing Day first of all? I mean, it wasn't a pen, was it?
No.
It was not a pen. I've seen some people online arguing furiously it was a pen. I'm like, what are you watching?
I mean, it's hilarious, some of the stuff I've been reading and seeing the last few days of this pro-Wrexham agenda amongst the refereeing fraternity. And I remember a time where I genuinely thought there was a conspiracy to keep Wrexham out of the Football League forever because of how bad some of the refereeing decisions were against us, the frequency of them, the enormity of it. I just thought, this is a stitch-up. So to finally get a penalty for the first time since March, you know, I can understand why the Blackpool fans were furious, but when you're that referee and you're seeing it almost dead on, and Fletcher essentially does a mid-air kung fu kick to try and get his shot away, the defender's arms go up. That's an unnatural thing anyway, right? So you run the risk, and when you put your arms up in the air, it's almost like an easy decision for the referee to make, because he'll look back in hindsight and go, well, you can understand why I give it in real time with your arms up. And we all whinge, don't we? Like, oh yeah, but if VAR was there, it would have been turned down. Clearly, it would have been turned down if VAR was there. But we don't want VAR because VAR ruins the game. We all know it. So we've got to be careful what we wish for, Blackpool fans. And yeah, it's a harsh call, but we always say these things even themselves out, and they do. They do. There's every chance we'll go to Blackpool on Easter Monday and have something go against us. It's just swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, and I think when we do, remember this game. Because that's the thing sometimes. I think some people lose a bit of perspective and you go, you know what? We've been absolutely gifted 2 points there. Gifted it. And we're going to take it. And as you say, you can see why the ref's given it. But yeah, happy days. Liam, what did you make of the game?
Which one? Sorry, we on Blackpool or?
Go for both of them. They were pretty similar anyway.
Yeah. Well, yesterday massively got out of jail. Jammy bastards. But to be honest, I was sat amongst people in the Mould Road stand and we were all moaning and mumbling a bit. You know, the guy who sits behind me always gets wound up about Parkinson waiting until the 70th minute. And then someone speculated that he probably does it to piss this guy off because the timer was bang on the 70-minute mark when he brought the subs on. So it was like, yeah, I think he's just trolling you now, to be honest. But lo and behold, Phil Parkinson, once again, it's not coincidence when these things keep happening. It's a sign of a mentality that he's drilled into the team, keep going to the end, sort of never say die spirit. So from that perspective, it's positive. And as Andy said, if we can play, do you say badly when you've won? I mean, we were fortunate, put it that way, against yesterday, but I don't know. The Blackpool game was quite fun for other reasons because I ended up getting into a row with Blackpool fans on social media, but that's another story.
No, that's not another story.
No, that's a story for now.
In
brief, what happened?
They chanted about the Pope and the IRA in derogatory terms and called James McLean a terrorist. I happened to put a tweet out highlighting this fact and was met with a barrage of shit. To sum it up. I was a grass. That was a common phrase.
So you and the Pope in the mud.
Yeah, well, me and the Pope are in cahoots. We're a part of a papal sort of plot, really. So
I mean, don't say you're part of a plot with the Vatican, mate. They've got a few things going on.
That's a spin-off pod, isn't it? Randall and the Ra and the Pope. It's going to be one of those. It's going to be something.
Back to the game, Timothy. It was good to see Elliot Lee and Arthur Okonkwo back on the subs bench yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand why Lee was benched, because obviously after the Mullin goal of the season contender against Blackpool in the fog, you can kind of understand why he was benched. And yeah, great to see him coming on. Mullin didn't look happy when he was taken off, but he never does when he's taken off. That's just his love for the game, I think. And yeah, all eyes were seeing Big Arthur back on the bench. I think that came as a semi-surprise to quite a few. We all thought he was probably still a little bit way away, reading between the lines of all the sort of comments from Park. He said, the results are looking good, blah, blah, blah. But I just thought maybe he's probably going to be another month away. So to see him on the bench is a massive boost. Does he start at Barnsley? Yes, I think. If we're honest, I think the consensus is he is the present and the future right now. He probably gives us, with greatest respect to Mark Howard, who's done really well since he come in. He gives us that bit more agility. He likes to come off his line a bit more than perhaps Mark does. So yeah, and I just think that he needs to be back in there. He just needs to be back in. You don't bring a keeper in of that caliber and keep him on the bench. That's not how you keep your hungry young prospects. Do you know what I mean? He's done very well, so I think he'll start at Barnsley. I hope he does.
Yeah, that'd be great to see. Before we move on something else, can we just talk about Mullin a bit more? Because I think last week, we were talking about whether, this would be his chance now, and whether I think we'd mentioned that possibly Leah picking up a niggle was a blessing in disguise because it kind of forced the issue a little bit to give Mullin a bit of game time. Liam, do you think he's benefited from that? Obviously, the goal was incredible.
Yeah, we had the great view of it as well in PG2. Just that knockdown from Ollie Palmer, and then not first time hit, he took one touch, didn't he, and then hit it, but it was just absolutely phenomenal. Seen quite a few good goals at that end of the pitch, but that was definitely up there. I think he's back to his sort of being a nuisance self, and I've noticed as well in recent games, he hasn't been doing the whole sort of theatrics that we often associate with Paul Mullin, the falling down quite easily and that type of thing. So I don't know. I think it seems to me like he's in a happier place, I think, anyway.
Well, it's funny you say that because there was a rather cryptic Instagram post he put up a week or two ago, which was, I think it was like, I was listening, I heard you.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether that was towards maybe people telling him get up off the floor a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe that
it could
became
be
a hint. I was just going to say it became a problem because we weren't getting anything off it. It worked in the National League against a poorer standard of referees, but it got to a point where it wasn't benefiting us. So, when it worked, I thought, fine, that's another part to his game. But
I think it's a fitness thing as well. I think when he's fully fit, he wants to go round a defender.
Well, and also he doesn't get beaten to the ball, does he?
No.
So that's part of the problem is he's losing that shoulder to shoulder, and so he's going down. Yeah. Anyway, yesterday's victory also means that we are now unbeaten in our last 20 matches at the Stoke Kairos. Pretty impressive. Our substitute statistician, Andy, Liam's our resident one, but he's pulled a hammy. So, Andy, you've been looking through some of the other stats that the club put out this week, and there's some impressive ones in there, aren't there?
Yeah, well, when I say I've been looking through them, these are all Mark Rivis's stats, and they're brilliant. He has done so many, a veritable shitload. But I'm going to pick out 5 or 6 of the best ones. Stephen Fletcher is the first player in Wrexham history to score 3 goals in a month from the bench, cupping his ear to Rhys Williams at the end. Right, let's also have a look at this. He scored in 3 consecutive home games. He scored winning goals in the 88th minute or later in 2 consecutive games. Not since the 60s has that happened. There's some other good stuff here. Stephen Fletcher is 6th in the all-time list of Wrexham's substitute goal scorers. He's 1 behind Steve Buxton. Remember, how many did John Paskin get? Because he had a super sub sort of rep, didn't he? But is that actually justified? Did he only come on and score 2?
Who was top, Andy?
Steve Buxton's got 7.
Right.
And then he's level with Adrian Cheslowitz at the moment. Right. He's the 5th oldest scorer of all time in Wrexham colours.
Wow.
He's the 2nd oldest substitute to score after a certain Andrew Morrell.
Get well soon, Andrew Morrell. We believe you're slightly below weather, so get well soon.
He's the 19th oldest player of all time, and Mark Howard is the 14th oldest player. I wonder who the oldest player is. When did Joey play till he was quite late, didn't he?
Dibble's got to be up there as well. Andy Dibble.
Yeah. Right. Going on to Parky. I think I'm right in saying it's his 1000th game as a manager against Peterborough, which is some bloody record. He's not even that old. I mean, Dennis Smith did 1,000 games, but he was old when he managed us. Parky is, what is he, mid-50s? I mean, he could go on and do another 500.
Yeah.
Right, it's his 100th league win. He's only
Wow.
the third Wrexham manager to do this. And guess at the other two?
Uh,
Not Brian Hughes.
Dennis Smith, Brian Flynn.
Yeah. No, it's not Dennis Smith.
Not Dennis Smith. Oh, no, it's
Yeah.
Brian Flynn and
He's got two first names.
John Neal.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Don't trust him. Parkinson is the quickest Wrexham manager to achieve 100 league wins from 159 matches. Right, these are good. These stats are amazing. Right.
Yeah, shout out to Mark Griffiths. And Andy, pick your last one, favourite one.
Oh, no, I've got two. Right, okay. Wrexham.
Go on, pick two then. That's fine. Do two.
Okay. Sorry, you've confused me now. All right. Wrexham are. It's all gone to shit. Why don't you just let me carry on?
Hurry up. Come on. You know what it's like to be rushed.
I mean, right. Okay, other good stuff. Wrexham had exactly the same number of away fans as Wigan had exactly the same number of away fans as Blackpool did on Boxing Day. They both had 1,268. Wrexham were unbeaten in 9 games, our longest unbeaten run since November 2023. Now, that is amazing to have such a long unbeaten run in League One. None of us thought that would happen. It was such a perfect day yesterday with other results going our way. Huddersfield couldn't even beat Burton, which I thought was a gimme. And it just shows that this league is so tough. And so, when we go to Bristol Row as an only draw, maybe we shouldn't push the panic button. Just picking up points all the time is important, and it will get us in a very good position at the end of the season. I really think for the first time we've got a good chance.
Just to add into what you said about the home form, 20 games unbeaten. Craig Jones on X has come out with this banger. No team in the top six tiers of English football or in any of the top divisions in the whole of Europe has won 35 points at home in the league this season, apart from Wrexham. Jesus. I mean, come on, people. Don't be whinging if we're not winning after 15 minutes.
Are you not
These are the
entertained?
Glorious.
Unreal.
Yes, superb. All's going well. I think last week I said I was convinced we weren't going to get automatic promotion because of those 2 results. I'm going to stick by that because I'm a man of my word, and I double down when I've been proven wrong, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, last week, just very quickly, some business from last week. Tim, we named our Celebrity 11. Have you got it in front of you there? Could you get it up for me and just run it through really quickly for us?
Yes. Okay. So this created some sort of crazy debate. Some people were like, that is one of the worst ever 11s you've ever done in your life. And it was also, some people said it was very fun. Anyway, we had Will Ferrell in goal. We had a back three of Humphrey Carr, Channing Tatum, and Andy Scott. Andy Scott of the Sweet fame, not Andy Scott, the actor. Ruth Dodsworth, Ruth ITV, Weather Girl Extraordinaire on the right wing. On the left wing, Kit Harington of Game of Thrones fame. In the middle of the park, a certain Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day, alongside actress Emma Corrin and homeboy Olympic weightlifting champion Gareth Evans. And then up top, much to Rhys's chagrin, Fleer Evans, Ruthin's finest from Twin Town. If any of our American audience or anybody has never seen Twin Town, seek it out. It's amazing. It's far better than Trainspotting, its counterpart at the time. Alongside Paul Rudd, Ant-Man. Yeah.
That is a toothless front 2, apart from Paul Rudd's lovely.
Hey, did you mention Simon Cook, a friend of the podcast, feedback on the segment from last night?
Yeah, what did he say? I forgot what it was now. It was
what that's probably the worst segment you've ever done, I think, was his exact words.
Cruel. Anyway, Hunter replied to the post we put up on Insta, and he said, "You really got to put me at the centre of that back three. Let Channing and Andy break forward with the pace, and I'll spray the passes about." And then Ruth said, "Blink and love it. I'm awesome at football. I know where the goal is and everything." So I love that. And she said, "Love you all, Wrexham family. This has made my day." So, and Gaz, weightlifter Gaz, I'll take a spot in that midfield. Thank you, Andrew. AP. But yeah, a few people saying that Hugh Jackman should have been in there. But that's what it was all about, creating debates, and it's fun. So we'll see what 11s we can come up with in the new year. I'm sure there'll be something. Somebody keeps telling me we should do like a lag 11, like a criminal one, because
let's not.
There's definitely 11 players with rap sheets, but yeah, maybe we'll keep that for another day.
And yeah, people saying Hugh Jackman should be in 11. He's got a rubbish first touch, and I've always said that, so that's why he's.
Someone put him forward for goalkeeper, and he was going to spike the ball with his claws. So
yeah,
then we can't score. Okay, anyway, before we turn to everyone's favourite feature, the Randall Roundup, I've unilaterally decided to launch my own feature this week. Brand new one. I've called it YouTube If You Want To. It's a working title. It could change. It's a Margaret Thatcher reference for those of you too young or too American to know. In this feature, we'll pick our favourite YouTube comment from the podcast of the week and say it out. And it has to be positive. So all you people telling us we're terrible and to get off your screens, then you're not going to get on the best feature in the podcast if you keep doing that.
Propaganda. That's what I love.
To launch the feature this week, I've gone for a comment from Jerry Riley 915. Again, not to be confused with Jerry Riley 914. She says, "Merry Christmas, lads, except Gilpo. Bar humbug to him. Great to have me on."
I know, Jerry. We were in.
Yeah, of course you do.
Vancouver.
Great to have me on. She's smashing.
She obviously does know me, and she does know that I hate Christmas.
We go back to the old country together.
Right. One thing I would say, I've always said this about YouTube. If you want to, let me read out the comment in full first, and then you can discuss it. Merry Christmas, lads. Except Gilpo. Bar humbug to him. Great to have Mia on. She's smashing on comms. Superb. Agreed.
Natural. Absolutely natural.
And we're absolutely keen to be having Mia on as often as she will be willing to come on. But time now for everyone's actual favourite feature, the Randall Roundup. Take it away.
Gosh, I wish I had some sort of music for this segment. It feels like, just jazz it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
that was definitely deserving of some music then. Even some sort of Rhys jingle off the top of his head. I still wanted Andy to do some sort of Scottish accent, like a la Stephen Fletcher, to see what he'd be thinking of Rhys reading our comments. Seeing as his Pat Frank Butcher impression was so good last week.
I mean, I got that wrong. That was.
Right, back to the roundup now. This is serious business. This is the second best segment of the podcast after Rhys's. I can't even remember what the name of it was. It's a pretty brief roundup this week, obviously. What with the festive period? I'll start from the top with the most recent. Phil Parkinson has compared his Wrexham team's mentality with that of Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United teams. Says he was watching the new Sir Alex Ferguson documentary, which I think is on BBC iPlayer if anyone watches it. He said he basically compared how they go right to the wire, right till the end, and always believe we can get a goal. So pretty bold claim, but I can see where he's coming from. People talk about it as if it's a conspiracy, all these late goals. I would argue it comes down to the mentalities instilled in them. Don't know what anyone else thinks of that.
I like it. I think it was done before, wasn't it? Where we all said, it's a bit of parky time. We had it's the advent of that vast amounts of injury time now, isn't it? That's kind of become the norm. I always was like dumbfounds me that why wouldn't the team go right to the end? Surely that is the mentality every team should have. But I think it's the belief. If you lack belief, you're thinking, this game's done. But when you get seasoned Scottish Viking Jesus internationals coming off the bench, and he knows his role, it's limited. He knows he's a 20-30 minute player, no more than that. But if he keeps popping up with the goals like he has been, then can't have any complaints about it at all. So yeah, forget Fergie time. It's all about Parky time.
Up the Parky time, Reds. Now that Viking comment is just beautiful segue into my next piece. I had a nice chat with Wrexham's crazy Norwegian ex-goalkeeper Marius Rovda the other week. Really, really nice guy. For those who don't know about him, he joined us in January 2002 under Dennis Smith. Safe to say we didn't have a pot to piss in back then, and we were in a relegation battle. So he came in, his wages were actually funded by the supporters group Wins, which was the predecessor to the Supporters Trust. Form did improve after he came in, but not enough to escape the drop. He then went to Lillestrøm in the Norwegian Premier Division, But basically, he formed a really close bond with fans in a really short period of time. And he's sort of had this story where he's like, I don't know, sort of where he crossed paths with Ryan Reynolds about 10 years before he actually bought Wrexham. He was working with Vancouver Whitecaps as a goalkeeper coach, and Ryan was a celebrity fan. He sort of said, well, I could see he was a humble, down to earth guy now. And then for him to go and buy, my old team Wrexham is just amazing. He also came back to Wrexham last year and met up with the fans, and yeah, just a really nice guy. So if you ever get a chance to read that, I'd definitely recommend it.
Great.
And then there is one more piece which is transfer related, and we have been linked with yet another Championship striker to add to the lengthy list. So Bristol City forward Harry Cornick is the latest player that we've been linked to. Not really actually an orthodox striker. He can either play on the wing or up front. His goal scoring tally isn't the greatest, but it sounds like one of those players who could be a creative spark. Their manager's already confirmed that he's going to be allowed to explore his options in the transfer window. He's played at teams like Luton. I think the journalist who reported that one was Darren Whitcoop, and he also says that Charlton are looking at Cornick. Bit of an unusual one, not really one. Don't know what to think about it off the top, but it feels like proper transfer rumours are really scarce, which just goes to show how the club is got really good at keeping a tight lid on things in a short period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very scarce. Andy, what do you make of that? Of our chap from Bristol City, you're the striker connoisseur.
I'm not too keen on him. I've obviously Bamford's been knocking about, but there's another Leeds player that's been linked with us. I'm just trying to find his name now.
We need to go off that. Need to go off that Richard Coney from Wycombe. Weaken the opposition. He's such a good player. Like,
I think
why
Joe.
we do it?
I think it's Joe Gelhardt, who is 22. He's 5'8", which would mean he's probably more for the Mullin role than the Palmer role, but has played in the Premier League, is surplus to requirements, is the right age, and is someone who could probably get into most Championship squads. So just to name
Or
check.
do you, as Tim says, do you go for your man from Wycombe? Say, here's
I'd love to do
1.2 million. Turn it down.
That's proper Lee Fowler territory. They did that to us, and it cost us. So but we'd have to actually want him. We just can't go and spend 2 million just to boil some piss. I think we'd actually have to.
I do think
he'd have to fit in long term, because I think now it's a time of long term planning. Gone are the days of just bit part players coming in on long deals to get us out of a certain division. I think now, if you're going to prosper, you need proper planning in. And the likes of Fowl, he's a work in progress. It was a time if your club record signing isn't starting each week, you sort of think, well, what we've done there, we wasted some money. But it's not like that with Fowl. We paid a bit of money for him, and I actually think he's come on over the last couple of games and actually done all right. And I thought he looked very dangerous yesterday, especially.
I was good. I was good when the whistle went. He was off on his toes.
He would have buried that.
Right. Before our special guest joins us in a few minutes' time to look ahead to a game we've got coming up very soon. As you mentioned earlier, Andy, it's a special milestone coming up for Super Phil Parky, 1,000 games, which he'll reach against Peterborough, I believe. So what I'm going to ask all of you for is your favourite Phil Parkinson moment. I'm going to give you mine to kick us off, and it's Barnet away, when their goalkeeper, when he's scrapping with their keeper, 3 or 4 games to go in the National League. Just love it. Just sums the bloke up. He's so passionate, and it's just great to see how much he cares. So that was the top for me. Loved it. Andy?
Fanny fucking footballers, which is the throwaway thing he said on.
I've got that ready to go.
Yeah, go on.
Right, hold on.
Fucking miles better than that. Not one ball has gone down the side. Not one midfield player's made a run. We look like a team of fucking fatty fucking footballers.
It's
I
still
love
so
that.
good.
Yeah, I
It's
love
so
that 'cause
bad, it's so good. That's what's so
it's-
beautiful about it.
It's such a weird, great soundbite, and it also A shows how passionate he gets at half time, and B sort of
That's
shows
standards.
yeah, absolutely.
That's
And
standards.
you don't really get an insight into what happens in the dressing room before or after games, and so to have that, I think it really endeared himself to the Wrexham faithful, because let's not forget, he wasn't that popular when he first came because he wouldn't change the formation. We didn't have the players to do it, and sometimes it was a bit of a mess because we weren't playing great football, and we weren't, even though we'd spent money, we weren't gelling as a team. So I think that, and having 2 transfer windows, has sort of underpinned his whole legacy.
Yes, indeed. Liam, favourite moment?
I'm going to go for the Billy Sharp episode just because I thought it underlined the fact of. I think the thing that really wound him up is that he was disrespecting the fans. And it's quite easy to give out sound bites about the fans every week, but I do get the impression that Parkinson instills in the players, look, people have paid to come and see us. You need to put a performance on. So I think I like the fact that, when he went and had his row with Billy Sharp on the pitch, it was because, he disrespected the fans. So big up to Parky for that.
Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I was initially, he's so quote worthy. Some of his stuff is gold. He even came up with something yesterday, just about how we're all in it together, blah, blah, blah. I think the one for me, I think it was captured on the AAA, was when we got promoted against Boreham Wood, and the camera pans in and he just lets out this almighty sigh and looks up to the sky as in to say, job done. And there's an element of relief to it because there's so much pressure on him at that time to get it right at the second time of asking after the disappointment of the first season. So that for me, in a weird way, summed up everything. It just he knew what pressure and the expectation, and just delight for him because he was kind of almost repairing a bit of sort of managerial reputational damage to a certain point from his days at Sunderland. So that was the one for me that stands out, I think.
Charlie, viewers on YouTube would have seen that Charlie from Up the Poshcast has joined us. And viewers, I'm sure, will recognise him from the last time he was on. Charlie, we were just discussing how wonderful Phil Parkinson is, which is, I'm sure, is an opinion you share.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's a strong starting line, I tell you what. Listen, he's a good manager. He's a good manager. He's good at what he does.
Yeah, I love that. It seems like everyone we come up against who hasn't played us yet says Parky's not a good manager. They're there for the taking. They're not as good as their league position suggests. Is that how you feel? Because we're playing you in a few days.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't say he's a great manager. Like a great manager. He's not the kind of if I would never want Posh to appoint him, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I would never want my club to have him as a manager because I quite like being excited by the football we watch. And I don't think I get particularly excited when I watch Wrexham play. And I've watched you a few times this season. And I actually have been watching you, and obviously I had to watch you at London Road, and you guys, you're not the most easy on the eye at all times. So he's not the kind of manager I'd want us to appoint. But when you're looking at a manager who wins football games, yeah, he's about as good as they get, isn't he, in League One?
Are you excited about being 4 points above the relegation zone?
Am I excited? I mean, I think that's one word for it. I mean, I don't mind a relegation scrapping the championship. To be fair, I just never thought we'd be having it in League One. What a terrible season. I mean, honestly, I was so optimistic when I came on last time. I think perhaps overly optimistic as I ended up getting.
Could you
clipped
remind
up.
us of the prediction?
You've not
What
really
was it?
tested yet, have you?
What was it? 5-1. Wrexham's James McLean to get sent off, and all that stuff. It was fantastic. I mean, did you guys a world of good on your numbers, didn't it? So you can't really complain.
yours, but you took it all in good spirit. So that's the main thing. So it was great at the time. It was great fare. Rhys carved it up and did a lovely video for.
I don't know what you're talking about, Charlie. One thing I have seen, to be fair, after that, because I haven't looked it up before, you have actually scored more goals than us this season, which has blown my mind. However, obviously you've conceded 43 and we've conceded 16. So does that suggest that you haven't got a problem up top, but you're very leaky at the moment?
I mean, we didn't have a problem up top. The goals have dried up more recently, but I think that's more from just a case of the attackers being demoralised because it just feels like if they score, 3 goals, the defence will find a way to concede 4, and so it doesn't matter what they do, we're still going to lose a lot of football games this season. So yeah, it's been dreadful. Our defense is not even National League standard, to be honest with you. Like it is that bad. I just have absolutely zero faith in them that they can ever keep a clean sheet. We've still not kept a clean sheet this season in the league. Um, I don't see it coming anytime soon, to be honest with you. I genuinely think we could go the whole season without keeping one at this point.
Wow.
We have at the back, it has been one of the most comedically terrible things I've ever watched.
Wow.
It's bad.
Do you reckon that they might sack Ferguson and then reappoint him again before the match?
Not before the match. I don't. I said I think when I was last on here that he was sort of unsackable because he is so good and he always ends up getting us to a good place. But I think he's close to resigning because I mean he's been left with just an absolute shower of I don't even want to say it at the back. Like it is absolutely abysmal. And I don't know how any manager is supposed to sustain any sort of promotion push when your defense is that bad. And it's just that the players just simply aren't good enough, to be honest.
What's your situation in terms of off the pitch? Are you in a position to be getting any recruitment done in January?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there were bids in on at least 3 or 4 new players, to be honest, already, because we have to sign players. I mean, we should never even be looking down the table, but if we lose on New Year's Day and Leighton Orient lose at Bristol Rovers, I think it is. How sad is this? I'm talking about Leighton Orient and Bristol Rovers, but if they lose, we can go down to 20th on New Year's Day, which is just horrific. So yeah, we'll be getting some new players in certainly, because we just have to. We can't go down to League Two. It just cannot happen.
We've got Barnsley on New Year's Day. You just lost to Barnsley. Anything we should watch out for?
Um, Not really. I mean, they weren't that special. We kept them at bay for half of a game. Then we came out and conceded within 90 seconds of the second half. A really poor goal. It was a throw in. They scored the second from a corner where one of their players literally just walked up to the ball on about the penalty spot and just smashed it in. Like it's the goals we're conceding. No way you'd concede them. Not with a team so well organised. Yeah, I mean, oh God, I can't even look back at that game. I'm so fed up of it. It's ruined my Christmas, to be honest. Gavin and Stacey's the only saving grace. So I guess we've got to thank you guys a little bit for that over the border. But no, it's been horrific. It was a horrific game, but Barnsley aren't anything to worry about, to be honest.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I'm feeling really happy about this conversation, but I'm a bit concerned for you. You seem very downbeat.
Charlie,
Oh, yeah.
I can. I mean, a bit like us with Parky, you are a sort of a Darren Ferguson disciple, if you like. You know, not really much of a bad word to say about him because of what he's achieved. So, wherein lies the problem? If it's not the manager, is Darren McAnthony outstaying his welcome now? I've seen a little bit of kickback from fans aimed towards him. What is the situation that needs remedying at Peterborough?
I mean, it certainly is Fergie to an extent. He's been doing some weird stuff, especially when he gets later in his time at the club and when it's getting closer and closer to him resigning, he starts doing really weird things, making really odd decisions, selection wise, especially. And like he just changes tactics for no reason and changes shape in the middle of halves for no reason. And so he certainly is to blame to an extent because he's definitely done that very oddly recently. But McAntony has to take a huge portion of the blame at the moment. To be honest, we've actually got him coming on the podcast in the first week of January, and so we're gonna be able to ask him ourselves what's gone wrong then. But until then, all I can say is that the recruitment just he's got it wrong. He simply has. He signed players that aren't fit for the level. He's signed a back four that, to be honest, wouldn't start for any clubs in League Two. I don't think even not all 4 of them. Definitely not any in our division. Yeah, it's genuinely like he has messed this recruitment up big time. And it's a sad state of affairs when you can go from a team that were top of League One on New Year's Day last year, in one summer, to then go to being, the team that are right at the bottom a year later. So I don't know how he's managed it. I guess I'll be able to ask him soon enough, and get that answer. But yeah, it's been very, very difficult.
He's an interesting character. I've been following Darren McAntony's podcast, and he's quite often quite brash and bullish about, this decision I made was absolutely right, that, and anyone moaning about it and all that type of thing. So what's the general perception about him among Peterborough fans then?
It's getting worse. I'm not going to lie to you. It's when we announced yesterday that we'd have him on the podcast, the comments were very toxic. Let's not get you wrong. It was just about as bad as in the summer, actually, in terms of negative interactions. Yeah. I mean, people are angry. People don't think he has the money to do it anymore. I have no evidence to suggest that that's the case, but um, this season hasn't been good enough. He's not really taken the blame yet. He's not really put his hands up and said, I've got it wrong. He's still sort of peddling the idea that there's always sort of a late comer to the playoffs, and that if we get it right in the second half of the season, and if all of our players play at their best, then we could be that team. So he's not really admitted that he's got it wrong yet, but there's going to have to be a time soon where either he really gets the checkbook out in January, or he admits, okay, guys, I messed up this summer. We'll just get to the end of this season and I'll fix it for you next year, and we'll have a good season next season, because it can't continue like this. Like, it is bad.
I also noticed he's a big Donald Trump / MAGA fan. Will you be asking him about that on the podcast?
I can assure you that we keep politics firmly away from Up the Podcast. There's no point in even getting into stuff like this. It's a football podcast.
I don't blame you there.
Charlie, right? So you talk about the recruitment, and Peterborough are well known for going into non-league, getting some stars, making them ready, and shifting them up higher for a profit. Is that what they've done with your defence this season, and it just hasn't worked? Because you can't just go in and pick stars up all the time, can you? There are some that just don't work.
Yeah, but usually we've sort of had a safety net behind these signings, where we've had, a really exciting non-league player, but we've also had a player that's, knows the level in above them, and then the non-league player sort of plays underneath them for a while and then usurps them and goes on to smash it. And we haven't had that safety net this season. I don't know why Darren McAntony felt that this was the right season to sort of take that safety net away. I think that's one of the things that I really want to ask him on the podcast. But we just haven't had that this season. So players that would usually play, 15 to 20 league games for us in a season have had to pretty much start every single week. There's players that have played no more than 10 games in a season in their entire career that are already racking up, close to 30 already this season, just because we don't have the strength in depth. We've signed players from abroad for the first time. We signed a Swedish centre half who, the Swedish second division is not the same as the English third division, surprisingly. We've got players from our academy that last season didn't look anywhere near good enough. I don't know what he thought was going to happen to them over the summer, but it didn't. And then we've loaned in an 18-year-old from Sheffield United to be our starting right back. Don't know why we've done that. He's crap. Then we've signed Jack Sparks, who was a left back who was at Pompey last season. He was meant to be, a League One promotion winning left back, and he's one of the worst signings I've ever seen. So it's just everything. He's got the opposite of the Midas touch this season, unfortunately, with signings Darren McAntony. And it's not. I haven't lost faith that we can recruit well from below and recruit exciting young players, but I think I have. He has to admit he's got it wrong this year, because yeah, the players that we've brought in have not been good enough, and there's been really no steady hands to fall back on when it's gone wrong.
I can't wait to watch your pod with Darren McAntony now, because it's going to be a cracker.
I was going to
Yeah.
say I think you've won yourself a few thousand extra listeners. From this one, so
Well, the thing is, we've been told that we were going to like be brown nosing him, and we've been told that we're going to be asking him what his favorite pizza topping and stuff is, and I just like our fan base have been proper going at us about something that hasn't even happened yet, and we're like, no, we will ask him the tough questions, and yeah, I would have absolutely no issue, I don't think, posing what I just said to him on the podcast because. If a podcast gets a chance to get your owner in the room, you have to ask him the tough questions, don't you? And it's been a tough season. It's been disappointing, been frustrating for all Posh fans.
It's got to be ham and pineapple.
Well, that's why we when we had Rob and Ryan on, we asked them about who the sexiest Wrexham player was because people want to know the answers to the hard questions.
Anyway, who did they say? Out of interest.
Did we ask him? That was Ollie Palmer, wasn't it? There was General Ollie Palmer.
We asked which one they'd least like to fight. I think Ryan said Mullin because he's got the dead eyes of a shark.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But Charlie, a part of me is pleased that you guys are struggling so much because that's quite entertaining to watch post the last podcast. But I hope that Peterborough don't go down genuinely because I got a soft spot for Fergie, obviously.
Yeah.
Go on, Tim. What are you going to say?
I was just saying, like, I suppose the saving grace from a Posh perspective is, yes, they're 18th, right? But then 15th Blackpool, we struggle to beat. 16th Wigan, we struggle to beat. 17th Rotherham, we struggle to beat. 20th Bristol Rovers, we didn't beat. So it's all about the fine margins and a stroke of luck, but it is all about the fine margins. And you just never know. There's a crazy gap. 24 points to then, 10 points later, you're 8th, Bolton. So it's all a bit mad, but you never know it's going to pan out. But I would assume you're gonna get some more players in January. You're going to need reinforcement, surely.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've sort of hit the nail on the head there in terms of luck, and we've just had none this season. Poku was absolutely flying. He's now out injured long term. We lost our captain for over half our games this season. He's only really just fit now. We just we lost the guy that we loaned him from Man City that we had last season, who was supposedly going to come in and save our defence. It's been woeful, and if you think about the luck that you guys have had, getting penalties off the back of Blackpool players and stuff like that, we've basically had the complete opposite so far this season. So
you need to pay off the refs like we do.
Yeah, exactly. The problem is we don't have attractive American owners who can, send him a signed Deadpool mask. Darren McAntony, I don't know what he can offer to the ref.
Yeah, well, you can ask him next week. What I was going to say was funny you should mention that we did discuss that earlier, and I should say just as we turn to predictions, I did predict a 1-1 draw against Blackpool and a 2-1 win. So I would have had a clean sweep of bang on results if it wasn't for that bloody ref giving us a penalty for nothing. I'm furious about it. But still, let's talk about our predictions for this week. We're going to do Barnsley first, Charlie, and please indulge us because we have Barnsley away first. Gilpo, why don't you take us away? What are your thoughts?
Right, Barnsley. I'm going. Never been to Oakwell. Really looking forward to it. Grand Old Ground, 5,000 tickets available. I don't know if we'll sell out. I think there'll be quite a few there, though. It'll be agricultural, I think. I think we will be solid. I don't see us changing the team too much. Maybe Lee coming back in, and maybe even for Mullin if he wants to go back to that sort of split striker system. I hope not. I hope Mullin stays in. I think it will be a draw. It will either be 0-0 or 1 each. And then going ahead to Peterborough I like the fact that Peterborough's defence is dodgy because I think our attack isn't always the most fluent, so I think we might need that. But I think the good thing about us is we find ways to win games, and I think it will be tight. I don't think we're at that level yet where we're going to blow a team away 4 or 5. I don't think that's really how we're playing at the moment. So I would say 2-1. I mean, Peterborough will score goals, so 3-2 maybe.
Okay, Tim. Tim, you unmuted and then muted yourself.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm having a bit of a minute today. By the way, there's I think there's 3,500 tickets sold for Barnsley so far. So with the last minute take up with the emails dropping into your accounts. That's probably over 4,000, which is pretty damn good for New Year's Eve, New Year's
Definitely.
Day. So, it's a weird one, Barnsley, because dating back to records 1932, we've had 13 wins against them. They've had 12 wins against us, and there's been 8 draws. And what tends to happen? We're great against Barnsley at home, and we've never won at Barnsley. So we've never won. So in that respect, it's either going to be a draw or we're going to pinch it. And I wouldn't be too disappointed with a draw, because Barnsley, they're a funny team. They can knock out some good results. They'll be aggrieved at losing to us the other month. So I will take a 0-0 draw at Barnsley. And Peterborough, despite Charlie admonishing half of the players that are playing for him and telling us they're no good, I still feel that Fergie's will want to come back here. It must be the first time he's come back, isn't it? It must be.
No, I think he has before. I think he has
Did he?
before. Yeah.
Oh,
I
maybe.
remember trying to get him before the match and he wouldn't talk to me.
Years
so,
ago,
yeah.
though, presumably.
Yeah,
Sorry?
it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he'll want to come and prove a point and get something out of it. But I still think, home form speaks for itself, and I think we'll edge that one. I'm gonna go with a cheeky 3-1, but not as easy as it sounds. So yeah, 0-0 at Barnsley, 3-1 at home to the Posh. Sets us up nicely for Virtue Trophy action at Port Vale.
Excellent. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw versus Barnsley. I agree it'll be tight, and I would bite your hand off for that right now. And then I'm going to say that it's going to be a bonanza against Peterborough. I'm sold by Charlie. We're gonna concede
17-0.
but 4-3 to Wrexham. Come on, it's going to be
He's gonna clip this up now to get back here.
4-3 to Wrexham. Peterborough are gonna go ahead, but we're gonna clip their wings. Liam?
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw at Barnsley. I've looked at some of their recent results, and I think it's going to be a tough game. We struggled to score on the road, but I think we've got enough in the tank for at least one. So 1-1 there, and I'm going to go for 2-0 win over Peterborough. Nothing sparking, nothing dazzling, but a bit less dramatic than the most recent home games.
Charlie, don't worry about Barnsley. We don't care. Tell us what you think.
No, actually, I wouldn't mind hearing what he thinks. Have we got enough for
Fine.
Barnsley?
Go on then, Charlie. Indulge us. Tell us more.
Okay, so I think, Barnsley have only won twice at home all season, haven't they? They're absolutely terrible at Oakwell. They're great away. I think they've won 8 times away, but they've only won twice at home, and they got beat 4-0 by Leyton Orient last time as well. So, but I don't think. I reckon you'll do a classic Parky and go and park the bus, won't you? So we'll go 0-0 draw, and then at the race.
The bus.
Yeah, Parky the bus. Yeah, I like it. I want to start using that. And then at the race course, the big one against the mighty Posh, I think. Oh, I've got to be optimistic, don't I? We're going to perform at some point. Like we are going to have a good. We have enough good players that we will have a good performance at some point. Maybe it will come against Wrexham. Isn't there some like home record you guys can achieve? Like some record that you could break if you beat us? It'll be nice to end that. So yeah, we'll go for a 3-2 Posh win, last minute winner. Absolute scenes.
Love it. I love the modesty. The modesty has been forced onto you after your scarring experience at London Road was it September?
Oh God, I just town away. I like it was genuinely ingrained on my brain for weeks. I couldn't stop waking up in cold sweats in the night hearing it. It was horrific.
You put your own weird spin on it though, didn't you?
Yeah, we tried to do Desco I Like It, which is a song about the sponsor of the stand that we were all in at that time, but they weren't even sponsoring the stand anymore, so that was an interesting one. I mean, don't know what genius came up with that, but it was good fun.
It sounded like Tesco to the naked ear.
yeah. Sainsbury's Ultras were fuming, I've heard. Yeah, it wasn't good.
Why didn't you sing about one of your defenders?
Oh, we sing about them. We sung "We're Going Down" against them on Barnsley, which may be a And then, when they were singing "Your Support Is," we were singing back "Our Defences," so that was quite good. So yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, we've sort of just accepted that we're having a bad season, and we're quite loving it right now. We celebrate opposition goals against us almost now because it's just comical. You've got to laugh, otherwise you'll cry. So yeah. That's where we're at. I'm sure it's gonna. I mean, it'll be a great atmosphere at Wrexham. I'm sure we'll pretty much sell out. I think we have sold out the away.
Are you making the trip?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, we'll buy you a drink as by way of a truce, amicable.
Oh,
truce.
nice.
Charlie, it's always a delight to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it, and good luck with Mr. McAntony in the new year.
Cheers, thank you guys. Yeah, safe travels to Barnsley. Hope you beat them. I don't like them.
Cheers. Take care.
Cheers. Good to speak to you, mate.
Bye.
Thanks, Charlie.
Bye. Great stuff.
He's great value, man. I love him.
I felt slightly bad. I was like, "Are you enjoying being 4 points above the relegation?"
He's great value. Love him. Thank you very much to Charlie for coming on. We've got some quick announcements before we do some last thoughts on our hopes and dreams for 2025. For the Wrexham history fanatics among you listeners and viewers, there's a really interesting book just come out by a chap called Adam Squire, and it's called Forgotten Clubs of Wrexham, 1872 to 1914. Meticulously researched. It's taken him nearly a decade to do, and it's available in hardback or paperback, and it's detailing more than 150 clubs from Wrexham and the surrounding areas, from Mold and Llangollen. So do check that out when you've got a chance. You can find him online, and the book is available on Amazon. And also some very sad news. Diehard Wrexham fan Anthony Edward Austin, known as Arnie, sadly passed away a few weeks ago after suffering from breathing difficulties. And Arnie's death, a particular tragedy because he was only 38 and had 4 kids, Tim, and I think the family and friends messaged you, didn't they, to do an announcement?
Yeah, just a friend of mine just asked if we could mention it, 'cause she used to work with him up at Newhall, one of the care homes, I think, in Rehab. So yeah, it's horribly 38 is no age, especially if you're dad of 4. It's rubbish. And there's a couple of stories about him in the local paper when he dressed up as like a Pokemon character during sort of COVID, just to try and give everybody a bit of a boost at a tough time. So obviously very, very likable guy, and it's just it's horrible to hear of something like this, But yeah, I mean, his funeral's going to be on what date was it? 8th of January, and basically the funeral car will be passing the racecourse at 11:30 a.m. So if people want to pay their respects, just line up past there, and I'm sure he and his nearest and dearest, his family and friends will certainly appreciate that. So 11:30, the funeral cortege will be passing the racecourse. So please pay respects to Arnie. Rest in peace.
Yeah, dedicated Wrexham fan of more than 30 years. So please do that if you get a chance. Looking forward to 2025, gentlemen. We're not gonna. Are people doing New Year's resolutions? Tim, you gonna give up drinking again? Have you had enough?
But yeah, I mean, I've had 5 months is taking its toll, to be honest.
Yeah, fair.
Including last night, I was like, I wasn't gonna have a few, and then it was just a hazy night. Even though I worked today, I just didn't feel great at all. So, but no, not some. I don't bother with New Year's.
I was only joking. Any New Year's resolutions?
We never stick to them, do we? We never stick to them. But yeah. Anyway, what was the question? What we hope?
Any actual New Year's resolutions? So no. The answer is no. Andy?
One for Wrexham. I want them to break the transfer record again and go big on a striker.
Yes.
Can we go big again?
For me, no.
All right,
we'll playing football with kids because I'm too old and I'm off balanced when I'm drunk. And
we'll do that.
We'll do over in car parks.
We'll do Wrexham related New Year's resolutions, seeing as Andy set the trend there. So we'll do that. I'll come back to mine last. It'll give me something to think about. But yeah,
okay, Liam.
So for the Wrexham related one, I'm going to go for one for Phil Parkinson, which is to keep doing the 70th minute substitution, just so I can see the people behind me getting more and more enraged, because it's a good sport, and I like his the way he sticks to it. So yeah, keep that up, Parky. I was going to say,
sorry, just on that. I think that's a clever tactic. I think he thinks that his starting 11 is strong enough that he will, the other team will tire in the last 20 minutes, and that's when you bring your subs on. And the bench is stacked. I don't think obviously if you're losing 3-0, yeah, you need to change it. But if it's a tight game, I don't see much wrong with that. Giving someone like Fletcher 20 minutes at the end is the optimum time for me.
Right. Liam, can Andy sit in your seat next week so we can have a blazing row with the chat behind and we can film it?
By all means, yeah. As long as I get to watch it in some capacity, that's fine. Yeah. On a personal level, I was going to say, don't accept suspicious rum from the guy behind the bar in the turf, but it was actually really nice, so I won't go for that.
Oh yeah, that was so good, that rum. It was like so smooth, wasn't it? Like 70% or something.
Lovely, yeah. Banana, was it banana? Some sort of banana rum, but it was actually really nice,
beautiful.
so I'd accept it. I'd accept it all over again if I could. So I'll actually go for try and anger more fan bases, because I think I've only got one to my name this year. I've really got to improve. There's 92 to aim for if you're talking about the top divisions. So I'll see how many of those I can tick off.
Are you including your own fan base in that? I like it.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's a given, isn't it? Surely.
I will go for I'm going to go for a sincere one, which is for the safe return from injury from our injured players. So they're coming back now in dribs and drabs. Arthur's coming back. But there were some really nasty injuries, in particular, obviously, Marriott. So it'd be great to have them back firing before the end of the season. So hopefully the medical team can work their wonders with the magic sponge. And Tim, on to you.
I'm going to go slightly different. My resolution will be not to engage with opposition fans on our social media at the lengths I have been recently, because you just get yourself into a right tiz, and then it just gets a little bit out of hand. And some fans have got great takes. Most fans have got awful ones, especially where Wrexham are concerned. And there's this conspiracy theory, blah 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 blah. All this. Where were your fans before 2020, etc. etc. It's just like, why am I wasting my time and making my anxiety go through the roof, engaging with somebody where sometimes you just can't beat stupidity. It's just the fact of life. So I'm going to regress and choose my battles more wisely, as opposed to just taking on everybody and doing myself no favors.
I love that we've got opposite resolutions from two.
More battles.
Yeah, exactly. And you've just reminded me, Tim, as well, of one of our YouTube comments on the last week's podcast, which is from Paul Tro 1082. And he says, he asks, were all of you Wrexham supporters before the recent investment, or are you more recent converts? Paul, I started supporting the day after Rob and Ryan were announced as potential owners. Anyone else?
I waited until the first season of the documentary came out. I thought it looked like a really cute town, and it reminded me a lot of my hometown of Cincinnati. So yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, I think for me it was like when Wrexham won 4 games in a row under Phil Parkinson for the first time. I thought, this is for me. I can't wait. This is brilliant. Where has this club been all my life? Up until then, I was just a massive Crown Green bowling fan. You'd find me down Bradley, sort of shouting abuse at the pensioners when they wouldn't get the right angles. So yeah.
Andy?
Yeah, as soon as Ryan and Rob visited the town, I was there straight away in a big Wrexham shirt. Hanging outside St Giles, trying to touch them. That's basically been me. I sometimes go to the football, but I haven't been to many home games this season, so my brother-in-law's dad goes, and that suits me fine. Don't have to go.
Speaking of touching, did you get in trouble for touching Carl Connolly yesterday at all?
No, the restraining order.
Did you meet Carl Connolly?
I did. So, right, I put in the newsletter last week about losing my phone in 2014.
Sorry, I don't subscribe. Not paying for that shit.
Okay, fair enough. But losing my phone in 2014, the thing I was most annoyed about was I had a picture of me and Carl Connolly in Weatherspoons in Wembley after the FA Trophy.
Mate, we've heard the story several times now.
Okay, well, yeah, fair enough. And serendipitously, is that a word?
Very good. I'm going to say yes. I like it.
Okay, well, it is now. Carl Connolly was at my Squin yesterday, and we listened to the speech, and then got a photo with him. It's weird though, because I'm not very good at photos, and I don't know where I'm looking. So it just looks
Generally,
very,
it's
very
at the
weird.
phone or camera.
No, I wasn't. I'm looking somewhere off in the
Oh,
distance.
okay.
Not like a catalogue or anything like that. It's just weird. I'm going to put it in this week's newsletter.
Tim, can you upload that photo to our social media, please, so people can see it?
I'll see what I can do. I met Stephen Wright yesterday, and I had plenty of chats with him, specifically talking about his time at Wrexham, and obviously him chinning Edgar Davids, and how he was going to kill him. And then somebody told him that Edgar Davids was a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and his reply was, "I'm from the streets of Boot, I'll fucking kill him." So yeah, I think we're going to get Stephen Wright on a live event next year. We'll see.
Excellent. And on that note, it's time to wish you all goodbye. Have a wonderful new year, everyone. Here's to a successful 2025 with Wrexham. Whether that's going to be going up to the championship, almost unthinkable. Just a year
If
or
they
so
don't,
ago.
that's me. I'll finish.
Oh yeah, we're all supporting someone else if they don't go up. By the way,
Yeah.
100%.
but yeah, wishing you all a lovely new year and goodbye.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Up the
Bye-bye.
town.